I'm not gonna lie, man. I love these animal type characters. Like I love Beast Boy. Vixen's one of those characters. She's similar to Beast Boy, being able to use a lot of different abilities similar to Beast Boy with all these different animal-like, creature-like abilities, attributes she can use. But let's analyze how strong is actually Vixen from the DC comic. And let's get it. I hope you guys enjoy. Get your popcorn ready and strap yourselves in.
I've unlocked the Red's power.
But I've mastered it, Cheetah. You think I can't be a predator?
It actually helps to know how strong a character is when you get a little background of their lore and stuff like that. One of her only known weaknesses to being able to turn into all these different things was early on, her power was tied to the Tantu amulet. However, now it's inherent. However, if she loses the amulet, she loses control of her powers, taking control of the traits and the habits of the animals around her, losing her human intelligence. You know, you'll see as I go farther in the feat run. She grew up in a small African village with her father, who was a local priest, as her mother had been killed years earlier by poachers. Her father was killed when she was a young adult by his half-brother for possession of the Tantu amulet. Yeah, this amulet caused a lot of ruckus, as you can see. I can see why, right? It's kind of magical. However, she managed to escape to America, and she built a career for herself as a professional model. Eventually, she would steal back the amulet from her uncle. She is being on and off again member of the Justice League, here and there, doing her own thing, closely working with the superheroes like characters like Animal Man. In her lore, even back in the old comics, you get an idea of how she is, stated that she's an accomplished hand-to-hand fighter, things like that in her history. States here, the Tantu Tattoo magically grants Vixen the abilities of her animal brothers and sisters. She can call on the strength of an elephant, the speed of a gazelle, or swim like a dolphin. And the list goes on. Kind of similar to Beast Boy. In addition, Vixen is an accomplished athlete and hand-to-hand combatant. States here in her lore. You can read all this and pause the video if you like. Make sure you have your video in 4K or 1080p so you can read this in clear quality and full screen it on a TV if you can. Just a little side note. She's got skills enough to where she can sneak on characters like Brian's Tiger, talking about sneaking skills, Bay. She even carries smoke bombs, by the way, just in case you didn't know. To really dig deep into her lore, you got to get another idea other than her just physical abilities. Like, for example, her senses. It is true that her totem is important. She can, like, sense the distance of where her totem is, the magical totem that gives her these cool abilities. She can even seemingly, quote-unquote, sense the animals around her as well. She's very linked. Evidently, she can borrow senses from animals, like using the animal's senses in a forest for her advantage. In this occasion, she's able to sense a lion before she even seen him, stated right here. She can sense the powers of animals or metahumans. Stated here, her powers have only been limited only by herself. It's like she doesn't really need prep time because she can kind of like sense the character's power just by looking at him for the first time. Like she did this to Grodd, knew exactly what his powers was and his species right off gate just by looking at him. She wanted to duplicate his strength and stuff, saying must try to duplicate his kind and stuff like that. Due to her nature of power, you can say she's one of the most versatile characters. She used the powers of a blind fish to find somebody in a cave. She can even use the abilities of a creature like their sight to see better, like using the abilities of a hawk, can see like a hawk. She's had her fair share of amps to the point where she could do ridiculous stuff. It's this thing known as the Anansi amp. When she was Anansi amp, she was able to tap in the powers of Superman somehow. Like was able to channel Superman's super senses. Stated here, Vixen, scan the room, the walls too. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Her power is very dynamic in ways. Like I said earlier, she can use her power without her totem, but she becomes more ferocious in the process. You know what I mean? Makes sense. The totem is one of those things that doesn't necessarily just, like, you can't just steal up the totem off of her and she's powerless. It doesn't work like that. It's like, it just helps her focus when it is closer to her. You know what I mean? Things like that. It states here, totem isn't the source of her power. It simply helps her channel it. You know, it's hers. Inherent, like I said earlier. It states here, my powers aren't like Buddy's. I don't use nearby animals to channel her powers. She knows her powers. It's just hers, you know what I mean? She kind of reminds me of Beast Boy. It's kind of like she has like limitless potential because any animal she knows, even according to her lore, she can evidently tap into it if she knows it, of its existence, right? That's pretty freaking broken, especially living in a universe like DC. There's probably creatures in DC that are god tier, and you know what I mean? She finds out those exist, it could be a wrap. It's incredibly efficient in combat. Like she can like switch between powers like in the middle of combat, like in a moment's notice. Like you can see the different panels here, fighting Hawkman, turns into a gorilla, elephant, like just different stuff, just switching between them. Really makes her hard to fight. And of course she can talk to the animals, man. This would be awesome. I want to talk to animals. This has got to be cool. Nature. Can you imagine being on an island all alone, isolated, and all your animals are your friend? That would be nice. Anansi, Waku Anansi, the spider, is a trickster god in Western African folklore. In the DC universe, he has been seen as an enemy to the Justice League. Anansi claims to be responsible for the powers of animal-based heroes such as Animal Man and Vixen. There is also another enemy of Animal Man who calls herself Anasa, the Spider Queen. You know, just to give an idea of this, her powers and lore. Siphoning the powers of these characters can weaken them in the process as well. Just in case you were curious. It states here, I know I'm endangering the team and abusing their trust. States here, I think draining powers from the people I copy. You've learned to copy more than just animal abilities, right? You can copy human skills and superpowers. He stated not exactly, but something like that. Yeah, it's like a drainage, you know, it's not necessarily copy, it's a drain. I think it's like a certain time the machine can use it, you know what I mean? Kind of broken as well. But it's a dangerous thing to do, though. For those that have their doubts still, Batman even confirmed it too. Vixen's powers have changed. She's not mimicking animals' abilities anymore. She's borrowing powers from the rest of the league. So why did you kiss Vixen? Before that, remember when she raced Jay? Hal told me she beat him. That's not cheetah fast. That's Wally fast. Yeah, she be cheating. She stole some of Jay's speed over half, I guess. Wow. And a few weeks before that, she punched a hole in a Mazo. I'm guessing she borrowed strength from all of our heavy hitters to pull that stunt off. Okay, back to the animal stuff. Yeah, we know she can do broken stuff like drain power houses and stuff like that. But back to the animal stuff right quick. What if I told you the animals she mimics are like stronger than the actual animal? Like she might turn into a rhino, but the rhino in real life or in general aren't that strong. Her version of a rhino is like better. Right? Like being able to rip off a tank door, like rip it off the hinges, not ripping it off the right way, but ripping it off the hinges. That's a rhino beetle. That's the strength. You sure? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know elephants are strong, but do you really think the strength of an elephant can do that to a freaking tank? I'm just saying, like, yeah, she's a beast. When it comes to her striking power, she channeled the strength of a bear to hurt these beings. Hurts Tattoo Man with the strength of a rhino. I mean, she's even fought Hawkman. Like I showed this like earlier, by using the strength of different animals in quick succession, like a gorilla and an elephant fighting Hawkman all at once. You know what I mean? That's pretty epic. This is pretty impressive because she even fights Gorilla Grodd. I brought this up briefly, but she actually was able to use his own power against him as he is a gorilla. It's impressive because Gorilla Grodd can level buildings with his attack power in post-crisis era. And not to mention, this is the same Gorilla Grodd that be giving Flash a run for the money. So that means this kind of is a combat speed feat as well, because Gorilla Grodd can't be a slowpoke fighting Flash. I'm just saying. Remember the Anansi ant? Yeah, this is what she was able to do to Amazo. So yeah, there was a line about her being able to steal powers. And this is the statements here I showed you earlier in the lore. She even used Superman's strength to KO Gorilla Grodd before. Epicness. She's totally a better version of Parasite in my opinion. Thanks to Anansi Amp, she was able to copy Bronze Tiger's power to beat Bronze Tiger. Her creatures are definitely stronger than the actual creatures she quote-unquote said she used. Like she was able to strain Aquaman with the strength of a whale. I'm pretty sure Aquaman's stronger than a normal whale, so her whales are more than likely on crack. She's beating multiple people using their own strength on various occasions. She's just a beast at that, man. Now, when it comes to defense, you're probably thinking, well, just catch her before she uses any of those powers of those animals real quick. You probably think she's a glass cannon. Well, she has tons of defense thanks to these creatures or powers she can siphon when she uses, especially the Nazi app. If you're wondering what am I talking about when I say Nazi, this is how you spell it, like this. Her battle feats are pretty impressive, like using the armor of Abalon to shield herself from an attack from a version of Hawkman, right? Speed of Green Falcon, body armor of Abalone. Channeling the power of an eel made her have immunity of electricity. This is awesome. Animals are amazing. She got a broken arm before. She was able to use the power of a reptile to heal her broken arm. Just awesomeness, right? She got hurt by some magic. There's some special magic that can counter it. It was like hurting her faster than any animal could heal fast enough to heal it. So if you're harming her faster than any animal can regenerate, then that's the way you can keep her permanently hurt, I guess, right? She is a DC character, so just off the top of your head, you would automatically assume she has absurd reaction speed. Super Mega Lowball is massively hypersonic, way past them hypersonic and supersonic speeds just by default, just because of the lower tiers being in that speed, and she has to be able to hang with at least those tiers in speed too, but the fact that she's hanging with powerhouses makes it even more. But just in case you need some more food for thought for that, even though she should automatically be this level of speed by default just because of the verse she's in, really, if we're being honest. Yawn. Fast enough to catch a bullet. She can even react to a blast of electricity, even though she can become immune to it as well, so use the speed of a falcon to avoid a lasso. Don't you just love all this dodging right here? You know, heroes had to fight shadows with themselves. Yeah, don't ask. The actual living shadow, you know. because comics. She's not one of those characters just going to stand there and let herself get attacked, right? That's just not in her nature. When it comes to her movement speed, when it comes to using her creatures, she can catch up to a plane before it takes off all the way. And naturally, she can run as fast as the cheetah. That's just natural, right? That's one of the many creatures she can use here. She used multiple, that's the campaign I showed earlier about her healing. Now she's using the cheetah, stuff like that. This is a case she was able to tap into the speed of a jaguar. Yeah, this Anansi app was kind of broken. She was able to keep up with Jay Garrick, obviously by using his speed. Yeah, this Anansi app to be able to take or drain people's abilities is kind of broken. This kind of confirms what I was saying earlier in the other comments about her using other people's abilities and draining it, like beating Jay Garrick in a freaking race. It's crazy. It's freaking fast. Implied to have after image type movement as well on top of her attack power. Just a powerhouse in general, if I'm being honest. She was able to move as fast as Boomerang Jr. is 2 speed, being able to blitz him in the process and multiplex. Yawn, just a case of her dancing around attack. Dodging around Aquaman using the powers of a dolphin. I showed this earlier, but was able to strain him as well. Yeah, she's a powerhouse. She even used a snake once, agility, to evade Flash's grip or slither out of the grip, right? Holy crap, she sounds invincible and starts to sound like, dang, why is she not a top tier contender in the league and in more Justice League stuff? Gotta ask DC about that. More animal mimicry. She was able to dig herself out of a hole. I showed this panel too. When she endured it, makes her more savage. She can even make her mass heavier, even though she doesn't change in size. She can use the power of certain creatures to keep herself warm in certain situations. Some creatures are made for the cold, so she can use those creatures to her advantage. Somehow was able to adapt the feeding habits of a butterfly to deliver Superman a cure. She was able to cut pre-crisis Superman with her claws. Like, what? Cut anything you can think of already. Slice, slice. She was able to cut Geoforce. She was able to cut Despero. Despero, right? You gotta know who this guy is. The same guy in pretty much any incarnation that has fought waves of Justice League members at the same time. Team busting status, that same one. Yeah, multiple leaguers. Yeah, all these heroes. And Vixen was able to cut this same being. Superman's in the mix, and Green Lantern, and Flash. But that didn't stop Vixen from cutting him anyway. She kind of remind me of Wolverine with those claws, being able to cut beings that are like super durable in the black hole ranges at least. She can even copy the claws of an eagle. Like, she can literally change her actual shape of her hands and even spit out some venom. When she uses the power of these creatures, she doesn't always change her appearance, but there are times where it does change her appearance, like getting the claws and being able to actually spit actual venom in some occasions of these creatures, which can make her even more deadly when it comes to poisoning. Yeah, I know I keep going back to the skin. She was able to shock Aquaman by using the power of an eel. You just pretty much say she has electric manipulation because of this creature. She even took out Grodd by using an electric blast. She was able to use the power of an anglerfish to fire a beam of light. Light speed confirmed. And of course, there's no surprise she can fly by using the power of a bird. Duh. The thing that separates her from Beast Boy is that most people remember Vixen for being able to have the powers of an animal, but her visuals don't really change that much. Well, if she wants to, she can actually straight up transform into an actual creature. It was kind of hinted toward this with her claws being able to actually produce real looking claws when her hands change into claws and be able to spit out actual venom. But this is stretched even further when she actually transformed into an actual wolf, turned into an actual bobcat. She was even able to turn herself into a wolf-human hybrid. This is some horror movie type stuff. Like, what in the actual heck? Thanks to the Anansi amp, she used power of the human animal. Thanks to the Anansi amp, she was able to draw the power of all these superheroes. Guys, this is kind of some amazing stuff on crack. Oh no, Parasite stuff on crack. It states here: Superman and Wonder Woman's strength, Firestorm, Green Lantern, Black Lightning's power, Black Canary and Red Arrow's skills, and there's more. Zatanna's magic, Batman's. Something's not right. Doing this in the process actually kind of strained her though, so there is limitations to all this power she can absorb. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that she can do this is just insanity. Did I tell you she was able to tap into Geoforce's null gravity powers? Stop siphoning off people's abilities, doggone it. In this occasion, tapped into Wonder Woman's agility and copied the powers of Animal Man himself. Now that's something that's awesome. Uses this power to steal the powers of an alien to escape Anansi's web. The being I told you about earlier about You see the dialogue here? It says, "Relax, my child. I may persuade it to tell the story differently next time." So not only can she copy scientific-based powers, magical-based powers like Zatanna and stuff like that, Wonder Woman's agility, but also tech. Thanks to the Nazi amp ability, her being able to siphon off abilities and drain beings. She's able to copy Green Lantern construct, like, low-key goofy. I'm not gonna lie. She can even copy skills, like she can become an archer. She's like her own little mini version of a Mazo. Or one could say Rogue. Never knew Rogue and Vixen were this similar. Let's be real. I know you didn't think that. She literally copied Bronze Tiger's moveset, like I showed this earlier. Does it again. Gotta love it. Sometimes she actually grows the claws, but sometimes she grows like a little construct to mimic the claws. One calls it morphogenic, to create energy claws, blasting Animal Man back in this occasion. Seriously, this reminds me of some Green Lantern stuff, like projects a big old large bear claw construct type of thing, morphogenic. This also explains how she's able to do this Green Lantern type stuff, because it's kind of like the same principle, morphogenic. States here, morphogenic field. Although this should be specified that this is straight from the Nazi amp. It's kind of like the same application. It's hard to really explain what tier she belongs in because of her versatility animals. She can drain people. She's one of those characters where she can kind of jump any tier depending on nearby or who she can drain. It's kind of like Rogue on that occasion with the Nazi amp or whatever. But if you don't want to count that at all, I still think she's probably at least in the Starfire ranges of power, right? I mean, I think she's like got to be in the Star ranges. I mean, her freaking claws can cut characters like Despero or Team freaking Buster. Just from attack power alone. Not to mention her creatures are stronger than the average creatures. Like I'm pretty sure a rhino can rip a tank off his hinges. I mean, I know rhinos are strong, or an elephant. I know the elephant is strong, but you think an elephant can lift a 60-ton tank? It's kind of like, dang. Her animals are like on crack. Not to mention she can mimic the powers of other creatures that are like enhanced versions of the creatures like Gorilla Grodd. He's not a normal gorilla, and she can like match his strength. He can level buildings with his attack power, stuff like that. He's fighting flashes and has absurd combat speed. She can become immune to certain things by just using creatures' elemental resistance, like an eel becoming immune to electricity. She can react to electricity. She can react to a bullet. Combat speed should be massively hypersonic at the very least. If somebody had a gun to my head and said what tier she belongs in, I need to know now, I would say it would go such as this. Lowballing the snot out of her, she has to be in the medium heavyweights. I consider Starfire to be in the medium heavyweights, with the heavyweights being like Superman, Shazam, Marshman. They're like the big heavyweights, but like the heavyweights there could give them a scuffle or at least harm them a little bit, or like the medium heavyweights like Starfire. I feel like Vixen belongs in this category safely without adding the power of her being able to drain people's abilities thanks to the Nazi amp and stuff like that. Meaning that she should be in those black hole ranges, but maybe like in the lower end, not necessarily up there with the heavy end black hole people like Superman and them who could, are debatably even higher than that, way above that, or multi-solar system or multi-black hole, you know what I mean? She's at least one black hole level range. That's how super mega lowball, right? It's only fair enough for Vixen. She can actually choose to actually transform into an actual creature if she wants to, and even transform into a creature-human hybrid if she has to. It's one of those things where she kind of reminds me of Beast Boy in one regard, that where does that stop? Where does it stop? Does she have limitations like mythological creatures? Like, could she mimic the powers of Godzilla and instantly become a Superman's here? You know what I mean? Like, it's just so many ridiculous creatures that are out there, even characters that could even rival gods like the Kraken. Could she mimic those abilities? It's very similar to how my Beast Boy video was. What are the limitations of her beast powers? She can grow actual real claws if she wants to. If she wants to, she can grow duplicate claws, kind of like on some energy constructs stuff, like the morphogenic claws. That's the type of stuff she can do. She even showed this when she kind of made her own Green Lantern construct, basically. It's kind of like the same principle, the morphogenic nature of her. But what do you guys think? What range of power do you think she's in? I think it's fair to say she's in that Starfire range, just to be safe, if I'm being honest. But I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm totally believe it's possible for her to jump tiers at will, considering all the different creatures that she could be connected to. Like, who's to say she couldn't turn into a Kraken from mythology, Godzilla, or heck, even Hexy being like Medusa, who can like turn you into stone. What's the limitations? Could she turn into Medusa if she wanted to? You know what I mean? But of course, this is me just speculating because she seems to be animal-based. She seems to be very similar to characters like Beast Boy, who is connected to the animal kingdom known as the Red. I actually have a video about Beast Boy. Please check out my video, Beast Boy, if you haven't checked that out. You'll probably enjoy that video like this video if you enjoyed, this one. You know what I mean? And it's just a very interesting character. She's probably a lot stronger than you actually thought. Did you really believe she was in those black hole range? You probably thought like she was a featherweight. You know what I mean? Her limitations is really herself. Like, if she turns into a snake and gets punched and gets KO'd, that's on her when she could have turned into Godzilla. Or that's on her when she could have turned into a dragon. You know what I mean? Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. What do you think the limitations of her is? Which do you think she is? Do you think it's fair to say she's in the Starfire range? I think that's fair to say. She could easily go higher with her power draining abilities, being able to mimic morphogenic nature, the Nazi amp, things like that. It's a lot of things you consider. So just in case I was not clear about the explanation, I keep on mentioning that a Nazi amp is because it doesn't have that ability all the time to mimic all these heroes' power, which is why I always imply the word amp. Her main ability is the totem ability, which I've gone over in this video a million times. You know, that's what the thing I wanted to clear up, because she's evidently connected to the red, like the same thing that Beast Boy's connected to, like the animal kingdom, kind of like their version of the Speed Force for animals. How the Flash is connected to the Speed Force is kind of like how her totem and her powers are inherited like that, if that makes sense, right? As you can see in this picture right here, Anansi's got like strings on Vixen and Animal Man, like evidently that's the guy that bestowed these powers on her in the first place. That's the type of stuff I wanted to get out the air. For those that are not familiar with the red, the history of the red is a force which connects and pervades all animal life and microorganisms in the universe. This is why I brought up the fact about her possibly being able to turn into creatures similar to how Beast Boy can turn into mythological creatures, since she's connected to the same thing. History of it is intended to be the force from which a number of animal-powered heroes get their abilities, experienced by members with a connection to the heart of the red, the Parliament of Limbs. The Parliament of Limbs are a collective body of totems, the former avatars of the red. Like this little necklace she wears, they're like avatars of the red, these totems, which is why they bestow the power. Once again, similar to the green and all that good stuff. Yeah, the Parliament of Limbs, totems, yeah, avatars of the red and stuff like that, a little split up. Hopefully that sheds some light on this. It's like, you know, I know it gets a little confusing. She gets her powers from this Anansi god deity, and then the red, he's connected to the red. Parliament of Limbs are the totems and all that stuff. Yeah, DC because comics, right? But that's the best way I can explain it, right? Just know that she's connected to the red. That's the best way you can think of it, right? Check out those playlists for more stuff like this. You don't want to miss that other stuff like this. I'm telling you, post them comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Is there anything major I missed? I don't think I missed anything major, but hey, I'm not perfect. I'm only a human. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think.